Welcome back to Marketing Connected. I'm your host, Rizwana Manjur, and this is Agency Agenda, a show that puts the mic in front of agency leaders, diving into how they navigate the ever-evolving advertising and PR landscape. We have in the studio with us Amrita Randhawa, CEO of Publicis Singapore and Southeast Asia, a role that she's held for over 4 years. Hi, Amrita. Welcome.
Hi, Res.
I think it's 4.5 years.
4.5.
Okay, so let me tell them a little bit more about what you used to do before that. So prior to that...
Tell me also.
Prior to that, she was at Mindshare for over 15 years, starting off as a brand team lead, working her way up to becoming CEO of Greater China and subsequently APAC. So thank you so much for joining us. I know you've had a really, really busy schedule. So it means a lot that
always have time for you, Res.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to talk about our favorite AIAIO.
Yes.
All right. Publicis now.
Question 1 of 256 on here.
275, mind you. 275. So Publicis now sees 8 out of 10 media dollars driven by AI. So from your vantage point in Singapore and Southeast Asia, what does this shift look like on the ground? Are clients asking for more AI support? Are we just drinking our own Kool-Aid? What are the expectations of media and creative agencies in Southeast Asia based on AI?
Okay, so first I'll contextualize that stat of the 8 on $10. You're referencing obviously Archer's Q3 earnings call.
Yeah.
And the 8 on $10 was with reference to 60% of our business, which forms connected media.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not really that surprising when you think about the component parts of connected media.
Okay.
Right? Connected media is obviously ID powered media. Yeah. And the intersection of that with CRM, influence, commerce to build one single view of customer and one view of exposure to outcomes. So if you look at that, I don't think it is very surprising at all. And in fact, our industry has been working with predictive AI for a long time, specifically the media part of the business. Closer home to Southeast Asia, I would say that's even more kind of in focus. Reason being, I think Google just released their Southeast Asia economy report, and they talked about Southeast Asia GMV for e-commerce crossing 300 billion, still growing 15%. If you look at Statista, they're saying that social media is still growing 12%, and within that, influencer at 20+%. If you look at e-marketer data, so it doesn't matter which data you look at, that confluence of sort of CRM, e-commerce, social plus paid media is exploding in Southeast Asia.
Absolutely.
And for our clients, the ability to bring it together in one view of customer, right from doesn't matter where you are exposed to what the business outcome is very critical because Southeast Asia is very complex. It's got so many economies. It's got so many different dialects, different consumer cohorts. Within that, all the more so is the desire to connect that up because it's not like we have budgets in the US or some of those developed markets, and we have to do more with less. Right? So more, I would say that's even more in focus in Southeast Asia. Having said that, what our clients are asking for is, of course, simplicity and sustainability of solutions, right? So oftentimes, if you look at the way social commerce went in this region, we actually outpaced much of the West in terms of development. But I think that's the expectation, is not how do we take legacy processes, legacy ways of working, legacy deliveries, and just make them fit for an AI world. But increasingly here, a lot of the conversation, I think, with clients is on, okay, how do we leapfrog that learning curve and create something new that is even more future-facing than before?
So that's interesting because, you know, a lot of the conversation when you talk about Publicis and AI is around Marcel, Korea, Leona. But at the same time, I think a lot of the greatest relationships are based on that trust, right? So when we talk about the competitive advantage that Publicis has, and it does have quite a fair bit out of Asia, what do you think clients are coming to Publicis for today? Do you think it's the solutions, or is it that sheer maybe years of relationship trust that like, okay, this is a new area, but you're going to guide me through it? I guess my question is AI really the differentiator?
So that's a good question, and I'll answer it maybe in two parts.
Okay.
Okay. First, I think that way too much gets spoken about the disproportionate advantage that Publicis has.
Okay.
And that's kind of odd coming from me as the CEO.
Yeah.
But I think it's more important that you reflect back on the almost decade of investment that Publicis has made, not just in AI, but in data and technology as well. And data is really the foundation of that, right? Why an advantage? If you want to build an advantage for an AI world, AI is nothing without data, right? It cannot work with subpar data. Doesn't matter what AI system you have or AI program you have or AI infrastructure you have, you will get subpar results because AI hallucinates with poor quality data, poor quality signal.
Yeah.
So I think much more should get talked about the 10 years of investment. Oftentimes, at a point in time where the industry was saying, what are you guys doing even?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, back in the day when the decision was made to acquire Epsilon, I was on the other side of the fence. And even I was looking at it kind of with my head turned going, huh? Right? I don't get it. But kudos, and that investment in data and technology, I think it's 12 billion of investment that's been made in data and technology. There's been a further sort of billion, if you like, which is just OpEx expenditure on AI-based systems. That's what builds you competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is not, hey, I came up with something overnight, use AI. It is the infrastructure, the foundation that you build across years. That's one part of it.
Yeah.
But I would say today, specifically, if I look at APAC, hell, if I look at globally, if I look at APAC, if I look at Southeast Asia, one of the big key strengths is talent. I think we have a disproportionate share of exceptional talent, not good talent, but exceptional talent.
Yeah.
I look at my SLT and the senior leads within my team. I look at Jane's SLT. I look at Anu's SLT in India, Mike's SLT in Australia. Exceptional talent. And today, our ability to attract really great talent that sees the value of the investment that's been made in the foundational capability and then what you get to do with that is really interesting. That's, I think, the twin advantage.
Well, there's also a lot of talent in the market, right? Like as we speak, there's this whole conversation going on around this year, the holding group mergers. There's so much going on. And before we started this conversation, we were talking about how do you feel about all of these mergers and news, right? And I said there's going to be so much talent in the market. But you had a different perspective, like why it's not a bad thing to have these big holding companies.
I mean, whether it's big or small, what I want is strong competition. Right? Right now, if you look at our industry, we have one holdco that is delivering strong growth. We have one holdco which is delivering, depending on the region, okay growth. We have some good fast growing, but yet quite small in scale holding companies. And then we have a mass in the middle that isn't growing and is rather cutting and not thinking, to my mind, about investing in the future. So it doesn't matter that we declare great results and whatever, there's a lack of confidence in the sector.
Yeah.
Right? So I hope, my fervent hope is that with all of these mergers or recasting a little bit of the ecosystem that happens, is we create some good, strong competition because you know this about me, I am a firm believer in our industry. I think we have value to add to clients. I think we bring something new. And only when we have good, strong competitors in the mix who are all investing, not cutting in the future, is when we will have a great industry. And a great industry is great for everyone.
Yeah.
I think your point earlier was around, well, there's a lot of talent that's feeling the impact of these mergers right now. And that is true. I think if you are someone in this industry today, there is I will say this for me also. I mean, everybody, I joke about it with my SLT all the time, is, you're only, I consider that I'm only as good as my last quarter, my last year, right? Because the industry is changing that fast. You've got to learn and you've got to think about doing things in different ways than you've done before. So yes, it is a challenging time, but it is also a time where there is immense pressure, whether you are a part of a layoff or not, or whether you're in a job today or not, to reinvent yourself, to think very differently about the future. The author who wrote Arrival, I'm blanking on his name. This is all sign of perimenopause, I'm very sure. Yeah. But the guy who wrote Arrival, he said, the mistake we have made is in calling it artificial intelligence.
Right.
If we had called it applied intelligence, which is what it really is
Yeah,
at
it's
its
true.
core,
It's
it's
true.
applied intelligence, we would maybe, one, be less afraid,
Yeah.
to think more mindfully about where you apply it.
That's interesting.
Because if you know, for me, the interesting thing is to look at, if you know a process end to end,
Yeah.
the most basic process,
Yeah.
right? Billing a client, right? So billing through to payment to, if you like, that's a process you go through, when you're inducted into the agency, everybody knows how to bill the client
Yeah.
and get vendors paid and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
How can I build an agentic framework to take care of that?
Yeah.
Because it's also boring, awful, boring work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, nobody enters advertising to say, man, I really
I'm
want
gonna
to
do
be
some billing today.
king of billing today, right? So if you think of it as applied intelligence,
Yeah.
teaching it the things that you know how to do blindfolded,
Yeah. Okay.
right? That becomes more interesting, because what it should do is free up more time for, okay, what's the absolutely unthought of, untested idea that could take my client's business forward? Or what is the new way that I can look at how I can take signals from a consumer and craft communications completely differently?
Yeah.
That becomes interesting.
Yeah. So then, going back to our conversation around AI earlier, and in terms of growth, where are you seeing momentum coming in, and how does SEA plug into that?
In terms of growth, I think there's a unique moment in time today
Yeah.
where what we call connected media, which is what I spoke about with CRM, influence, commerce, paid media, powered by identity, actually fueling better creativity,
Yeah.
right? Where everybody talks about social first and, the need for more content, but actually a lot of the content that's being created is really crap content, let's be honest, right? But if you use data and if you use signal to create content, less assets,
Yeah.
more meaningful assets that actually provoke the right kinds of response,
Yeah.
that's a whole new area
Yeah.
where a lot of work is going in. And how do we achieve that? And I think globally, if you look at it, if 25% of our business is intelligent creativity, about a third of that is, completely AI-driven production, but not just production for the process, powered by data and signal and information.
Yep.
So I think it's entirely, yes, within, if you take even a vertical like social,
Yeah.
it's not just about, hey, how do I create for social? Because I think that's quite superficial
Yeah.
to say growth is coming from social.
Yeah.
What's more interesting is to go 2-3 layers under and say, whose social do I want growth from? If I'm a client brand,
Okay.
you and I are roughly in the same broad demographic,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably younger side of that demographic. That one side. But if you and I are in the same demographic,
Yeah.
right? I can bet you that if we were to open up our Instagram feeds or our TikTok feeds
Yeah.
right now, your TikTok and my TikTok don't look the same.
Yes.
Yeah. So when people say, "Oh, let's catch on to the rising trend in TikTok,"
Okay.
whose trend, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your trend or my trend?
Yeah.
Who's the actual consumer?
Yes.
You want to influence.
Yes.
Right?
So you want to go layer below and
So layer below to think about which cohort is actually powering brand growth, and then how do I create content for that? Then how do I make sure that that content gets the right level of exposure, drives to outcome in commerce,
Yeah.
both either online or offline? Actually, the problems or that problem statement or diving that layer deeper with clients and making sure that we're orchestrating both assets and channels in the right way to deliver that outcome, that's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun, and it's where most of our product and creation is going towards, and where also a lot of the growth is coming from.
Yeah.
I think brands are also recognizing that as much as we go down, the mid and lower funnel of social and commerce, it's also important to tell the brand story
Yeah.
more and more. You know, that foundational brand building of what does a brand stand for, that storytelling has become even more critical because it is the only thing that sets you apart. At a point in time where, yeah, I could go for whatever offer in a particular category
Yeah.
and be charmed by that in the last pick, if you like.
Yeah.
So building sticky brands that tell their stories well is even more critical today than ever before.
And I want to come back to the point about social because Publicis has made really several very big creator economy acquisitions. But I want to talk about a little bit about yourself. You've been in media through and through. So when you joined and took on this creative side, was there any imposter syndrome that you faced? Were there naysayers like, oh, she's a media girl?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Biggest naysayer was me. Forget anybody else. Biggest naysayer was me. I remember very clearly, you know, going to my first creative review for a pitch and not liking any of the work at all. And then I was thinking, like, ooh, how do I see? I'm not gonna like that I say this. They're gonna think that she's some media chick who doesn't know anything about creativity. But this is the great thing about our industry and people in our industry.
Okay.
Right? A couple of things always shine through. If you are informed in the way you deliver feedback, if you base it on the rational, not the emotional, if you explain why you're saying what you're saying, and then more importantly, you're willing to say, hey, let me roll up my sleeves and get into redoing the strategy with you, or redoing the deck with you, or recrafting something with you, and let me help in that process. People have a lot of respect for that. I still have imposter syndrome about my job, generally. Yeah, you're talking about like creative side. I
Imagine that.
generally have.
The results you guys have been.
I don't think that goes away really.
But do people really want their CEO rolling up the sleeves and coming into the pitch like, hello, let's go? I would be shitting bricks like if my CEO is like, okay, I'm going to get into the pitch with you.
I think your job as CEO is to do whatever it takes.
Okay.
Yeah. Some days that's redesigning slides. Some days that's recrafting the story.
Yeah.
Some days that's making sure that the AC is on. Some days it's just sheer presence that I know this is tough.
Yeah.
I know we're struggling to crack this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is when you're getting the tough questions in a pitch to stand in front of your team and to take the tough questions and to make sure that they are protected.
Yeah.
And you defend the work. Right? Your job is to do whatever the hell it is needed all the day. You want coffee? I get you coffee. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the creator economy, right? You guys bought Influential, Captivate, and most recently Hepmil.
Yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations to Carl and the team as well.
Yay.
Lovely, lovely team. So walk us through how this acquisition came around. Why Hepmil? What was the gap that you were trying to fill in the region?
Why Hepmil? Acquisitions can be something that really propel your business forward.
Yeah.
And they can be something that you can look back on 5 years and say, oh God, why did I do that? Right? With us, Hepmil first and foremost, I think we were Hepmil's first client.
Was it Scoot?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so.
I think
It
it might be
predates my
Sharon.
time. Predates my time. But I believe their first client was with Publicis Group. And we have an incredible shared map of clients, whether it is Singapore government or Unilever or whatever. So actually it moved pretty fast because in March we were talking about how we were seeing far more growth in this social and influence space, how we needed to really ramp up. And I think I asked Ian and Joe, we have a little chat. By the way, it's called Amrita, Ian and Joe, RG. It's our spicy chat.
I'd love to be a fly on
so
that WhatsApp
nerdy.
wall to see
Right.
what you guys are talking about.
But on that chat, I said, we're talking about continuous ramp up. We're
Yeah.
talking about scaling at a different level. We really need to think about how do we get there faster, because I don't think clients will wait for us to build. And that has been a predominant Publicis philosophy always, which is I don't think we wait or we have an ego about the fact that, oh, everything must be built in home and only when we make it
Yeah.
will we believe in it.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a midnight conversation where I asked Ian the question, do you think ever, because we work so much with them already, it just feels logical
Yeah,
that
that's
if they were
it.
part of the group.
Yeah.
And Ian was like, I don't know, but happens to be that I'm meeting Carl for dinner tomorrow and I'll find out. And we went from there in March and we closed in October. And that
Pretty
was
fast.
fast.
Really fast. Yeah.
Super fast.
I don't know if you're even allowed to share this, but what were some of the apprehensions that each side had?
Funnily enough, I would have to say that there were very few apprehensions. You can do another podcast with Carl and check with him. But I think Carl and the team was super clear on one thing. And it was very unusual for me when I talk about acquisitions, and we've screened many other people in this space. The one thing he was obsessed about was his people and his creators. What is this going to mean for them?
Yeah.
His people, in terms of career growth paths, in terms of ability to do more and their own personal growth. And the second thing was, what are you going to help me deliver to creators so that those relationships that they as a team have nurtured really blossom?
Yeah.
So I think it was more testing around that.
Yeah.
For me, it was very frankly, very little apprehension because we worked with them so well. And seeing them in meetings with our team, it was very difficult to pick apart where Hepmil started and Publicis ended and vice versa.
Relationship.
And more than anything else, for me, it was about values. Are you in it to build for the next 4 or 5 years? Are you in it to create something new? And what is your client's interest?
Yeah.
It was more making sure that what we held as beliefs about each other in these spaces were genuinely true.
Yeah. And well, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. The whole of government media pitch is coming up, and the Singapore government loves to work with the creators at Hepmil. Do you think this puts you at a strategic advantage?
I am 1000% paranoid, Rez, when it comes to pitches. So you say, the moment you said it's an advantage, now I will start devil's advocating myself, saying, oh my God, is it? Oh, is it? What should I do to... is it? Now I'm just in my head obsess about it for the
So I'll
next
call
one.
you every week and ask you, so what do you think about it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think for any client, look, if we have a capability that's good,
Right.
that's the great thing for a client, right? And for us, this was really about not growing, but accelerating
Okay.
what we were doing in social and influence, because this we can do ourselves.
Yeah.
The job of Hepmil is to really help us do
Yeah.
this. And what they have, I think, better than anybody else out there is that authenticity of connection and understanding of what really works in this space.
Yeah.
They get that better than anybody else.
There's also a group of people, I'm sure, and every time there's a big move that happens in our industry, people talk, right? And there is
Are
also
you saying there are naysayers? You wouldn't say. Really? Shocked, I tell you.
there are some people who wonder what this means for Hepmil clients who work with your competitors, for example. Have you guys, I'm sure you've talked about it. What's the consensus there?
I don't think we've seen any drop off since the acquisition. And I would hope that our industry is at least a little bit better at not making this about, oh, you're a part of Publicis now or this. Do you have the right assets for my client? And if you have the right assets for me, egos aside, we will work with you. Right? So I don't think Carl and the team have seen any drop off. But yeah, I would hope that our industry is better in this regard than, oh, I'm not going to work with you.
Let's talk a little bit about the acquisition itself, right? I think Publicis makes some really great strategic acquisitions. What else is on the cards for you guys?
So I think, as with any new acquisition, I don't think there's anything that I have on the cards right now. But
Because you also acquired AKA.
yeah, a couple of
And
years
that was
ago.
quite interesting because
Yeah.
that's in the PR space.
Yes.
So
Again, it was the
talk to
same
me a little bit.
the same logic there
Yeah.
that we wanted to accelerate. We didn't have that much of a network. There's huge amount of humility to accept that we did not have the kind of network.
Okay.
AKA were once again very similar, very client centric,
Right.
really great relationships,
Yeah.
and really, really good at their craft.
Okay.
Right. So for me, it's always about when I look at the tapestry and I say, where is client growth coming from? Do I have the capability to match that client growth
Yeah.
or not? Will it take me longer to build something on my own and potentially miss the train of that growth? Or is there a better suited asset out there? When you don't talk about it, you don't mention it, but the Lotami acquisition
Yes.
actually started from Asia.
Oh,
You know,
really?
Yeah, Sapna and her team were the first
Interesting.
ones to work with Lotami.
Yeah.
And in this region, and actually Southeast Asia was one of the first spaces where we worked with each other.
Yeah.
So I think there's again, you have to have a match in terms of values and beliefs.
Yeah.
And ways of working and that client centricity obsession. You have to fill a gap. You know, we had Epsilon, we had Retargetly, we had IT Time in China, and Lotami plugged in a great gap
Yeah.
in terms of the ID graph.
Yeah.
So it made sense. So you had to plug in a gap, some kind of gap, and you had to be great. You have to be client obsessed as this company is from Arthur downwards.
Yeah.
And it should help us get somewhere faster than if we were to build on it.
Okay.
That's the logic for it. I don't have anything on the cards right now. Should you call me with any
Cancel
anything
call.
that you heard? I will definitely not be answering you unless I'm ready to answer you. There's a good story there. Huh? There's a good story there. When Res did call me about Hepmil, I was on holiday in Italy, and I think I did respond to her to say, to the best of my knowledge, I am not buying anything right now apart from Italian luxury.
Yeah.
And technically, I think I was correct.
I can't say you lied to me. It's not a lie. But
So
yeah.
technically, at
Fair.
that moment in time, I was 100%
Fair.
correct.
Fair. So if you had to bank on an area of growth for 2026, what's on your radar and what would you be looking out for?
Two things,
Okay.
I think. One, you did mention this is a moment in time where our industry is going through a lot of consolidation, a lot of merging, a lot of changing, a lot of, calls being taken around efficiency and whatnot. I think it's an incredible time for Publicis to go after market share. So that is definitely one key area of focus,
Okay.
is to gain market share.
Okay.
Because we still have loads of headroom to grow. We have loads of market share still left in the tank to go after, and that is very clearly our focus.
Okay.
And then I think for me, the second area is really doubling down on Power One, because more and more, if you look at data as the foundation and data informing media, creativity, production, everything in between, CRM, commerce, influence, then you actually, the more you can bring it together and orchestrate seamless outcomes for clients, the more you can win. Because clients do want simplicity. They want people to build with them. I don't think that has changed. Fundamentals of our business in that respect have not changed. The simpler we can make our Power One capability to clients to access, doesn't matter whether it's social, whether it's influence, whether it's CRM, commerce, production, whatever it is, it fuels all parts of our business. And I think if you are reading our results and listening to our results call,
Yes.
you are seeing that the powerful growth in connected media is now helping us power even intelligent creativity even more. And intelligent creativity in turn is powering connected media. The Sapiens Find is helping us win in AI
Yeah.
faster. And the three put together, the more we bring it to bear on clients
Yeah.
together in one integrated manner is how we win.
Yeah. It looks like you've got an unstoppable year ahead of you.
Don't say that. Why you want to jinx?
Okay, I won't jinx it.
Kinds of work.
They're all there, all there.
Why don't you turn 3 times around, spit, and then whatever other ritual.
what else I can do, right? Okay, but I know we're almost out of time. So on that note, thank you so much, Amrita. It was really a pleasure having you on board for our final podcast of the year as well.
So you spoke to everybody else. And then you said,
That's not it. You know that's not it. But to our listeners out there, fear not. Although this interview with Amrita Randhawa of Publicis is over, we've got loads of other episodes you can catch on our Marketing Connected channel and on YouTube. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to Marketing Connected, brought to you by Marketing Interactive.
thank you for having me.
Thank you.